Busy day for Marc Bergevin on trade deadline day. Nonetheless, we still have a lot to talk about here. The Habs acquired two depth defensemen, left-handers, John Merrill from the Detroit Red Wings and Eric Gustafsson from the Philadelphia Flyers. And we'll get into that, but first, we lose Victor Mete on waivers for nothing to the Ottawa Senators. And doesn't Victor hop in his car, drive a couple hours, and suit up for the Sens tonight? That was hard to see. And y'all know, I love the kid, and I've thought for a while that he's capable of much more offensively if just given the chance. But I think we can all agree that it's his play in the D zone that has held him back. When you pressure him, he's weak on the puck, he gives it up easy, and he just makes mistakes back there. At fault for quite a few goals recently, against for the Habs. And I know our defensemen aren't perfect, but they're not playing a limited role with, a much lesser quality of competition like Victor Mete is. Those are the mistakes that have held him back and not allowed him to get better assignments and more minutes in the NHL. Now, maybe that's the Habs' fault for rushing him. A recent fourth-round pick. He made the team quite young, especially as a small guy. Granted, he earned it in that training camp, but so there could be fault to blame there. But as for the Senators, I love this pickup for the Senators. Why don't you take a chance like this in the season that they're having? And they've got a lot of minutes to give out and will truly be able to see what Victor Mete is capable of, I would assume, in the top four of an NHL for the Sens, because they're going to want to know if they want to re-sign him moving forward or maybe even showcase him to bring in an asset for him later down the line. And I also love that Victor gets a fresh start to really, get another chance. He got a taste of the NHL, and you can tell he wanted it bad and didn't like sitting on the pine for the Habs, requesting a trade early in the season, which I don't think was the right move for a kid that young. That's a fringe NHLer. But what can you do at this point? He finds himself on waivers a couple months later and claimed and gets the fresh start he was asking for. After all, Victor is a really good skater, especially through the neutral zone, and I think he has more potential in the O zone as well. Just recently for the Habs, he's generated a few different really nice scoring chances up the ice, and I think he's going to get a chance here in Ottawa to show what he can do. And with this fresh start, he has a chance to show the Habs right away what they gave up. We play the Sens on this coming Saturday. And then I know it sucks to lose Victor for absolutely nothing on waivers, but I have confidence Bergevin at least tried to get an asset for Victor Mete. I doubt there was anything there unless the other team wanted us to take a contract back, which, considering what the Habs did later in the day, that was not an option for them. So they chose to put Mete on waivers. You hope he doesn't get claimed, but unfortunately he did. We'll be fine. We've got 5 picks in the first 3 rounds of the 2021 draft, as well as 10 picks in total after this deadline. So we are doing just fine when it comes to draft picks. And I would much rather have every single one of those 5 picks in the first 3 rounds than just a rental or some short-term fill-in. The only 2 players I was honestly interested in this deadline was Matthias Ekholm and Vince Dunn. Everyone knew that. Jamie Alexiak was another trade target I've heard people talk about, but if it's not going to be a player that's going to, improve this team long term, even Ekholm had a year left on his deal, Vince Dunn, a restricted free agent, those are the types of players you target. I'm totally fine keeping our picks this trade deadline, and that's how this team really takes a next step forward, continuing to draft in the early rounds year over year over year, and then you get waves of prospects coming in. So I'm totally fine with what Bergevin did here at the deadline. Now, the Habs do acquire John Merrill from the Detroit Red Wings for a 5th-round pick and AHL forward Hayden Verbeek. And I love this pickup. Absolutely love it. I think we got John Merrill at a very fair price. 6'3", 195, left-handed defenseman. He is one of the few defensemen on the Detroit Red Wings to be playing above 0 in the plus-minus category, albeit a +2, but the rest of that team is, just absolutely struggling. So that says something. Not only that, the advanced metrics back up John Merrill as well as a very responsible defensive defenseman back there. And he is good with the puck, moving it up the ice as well, but not a guy that's going to put points on the board for you. Yes, unfortunately, it's one of those, not exactly what we needed in terms of the top 4 quality that I'm sure all of you were hoping for. But John Merrill could come in and be a very strong partner for, really any of our defenders, but especially on that bottom pair. I think he's going to play a lot more this season towards the end and in the playoffs than a guy like Erik Gustafsson will, because Merrill's such a reliable guy defensively. And that's what you need at this time of year. Win the battles down low and then just do a good job getting it out of the defensive zone. And he's got quite the duster on his head. If you haven't seen it, check it out after this video. The Habs also acquire depth left-handed defenseman Erik Gustafsson from the Philadelphia Flyers in exchange for a 7th-round pick, and they also retain 50% of his salary, which is huge. We didn't pay much of a price for them to retain half of this guy's salary, so that's a good pickup for the Habs. Very low risk, but very high reward, and I'll tell you why. The guy is quite offensively gifted. He's 2 years ago scored 60 points for the Chicago Blackhawks, playing in their top 4. Now, albeit he got a ton of power play time with Patrick Kane. Now, that being said, I think only 16 points or so of his 60 came on the power play. So a lot of 5-on-5 scoring from Gustafsson there in that season. Then he followed it up with a 29-point season. And now this season, he's got 10 points in 24 games. Offensively gifted, puck-moving, left-handed defenseman, but what I will tell you is defensively, he is absolutely garbage. So you have to deploy this guy very carefully. You have to have him in your lineup to play on the power play and to only play on the offensive zone. Get some offensive zone face-offs here and there. Hopefully we win the draw and we can contain the puck in our zone. You do not want this guy defending for any serious length of time. Now, I like this pickup because it's very different for the Habs to target a guy that's just bad in the defensive zone, but talented offensively. Maybe this is an ask from Dom Ducharme here. I don't know. Just very different in terms of the type of defenseman that Bergevin likes. So I like seeing him out of his box here. And if deployed correctly, Erik Gustafsson could have a really strong impact on what the Habs can do in terms of their offensive game. He could really help out the forwards in making much more dynamic plays in the O-zone. Because, with only Jeff Petrie as our main puck-moving defenseman, especially in terms of, a dynamic offensive game, that's a lot for one guy. And that means a lot of our forwards don't have that luxury of playing with a guy like Jeff Petrie. So if Gustafsson can get some significant power play time and make a difference in the O-zone, that's how we make this trade a win for the Habs. Don't expect him to come up and be a top 4 for the Montreal Canadiens. He's not going to get paired with Shea Weber. What we saw Kulak do with Weber tonight, I think, gives him an option there until Ben Sherratt comes back. I highly, highly doubt we're looking at pairing Erik Gustafsson with Shea Weber. The last thing Weber's going to want to do is have to cover for this guy constantly when he's making mistakes in the defensive zone. So that's not going to happen. Get that out of your head. Both of these defensemen we acquired tonight are depth guys. They could make up our bottom pair, but I'm liking what I'm seeing from Romanov this season, and he looked really good and strong physically against the Leafs tonight. And what this does more specifically, especially for our defensemen, and that's where the improvement really needs to be made on defense. What this does is, creates a much higher level of competition in practice and within this team in the decor. And that will hopefully make a guy like Romanov better, a guy like Kulak even better, especially how, with Kulak getting this opportunity with Weber recently. So I like the pickups for the Habs, depth specifically, and John Merrill, I think, is the main guy we got here in terms of defensive ability, and I think he could really help the Habs down the line and could become a strong partner for Alex Romanov as well. Sucks to lose Mete. It is what it is. Bit of an interesting day for the Habs. Let me know what you think down in the comments, and of course, hit the like and subscribe button if you enjoy these videos. Go Habs, go baby!